So, a lot of drama has happened in the past few days, but before we can begin, I have to tell you about Tarabal's most infamous exclusive tower, the Huntsman. This thing can be used to carry early game, mid game, and even late game. It can completely replace the farm tower as it makes boatloads of cash by shooting zombies. How do you obtain it, you may ask? By winning one of the Tarabal community's monthly Huntsman tournaments. All you have to do is have 250 wins and join the TBC Discord to enter. Then you have to 1v1 other 20 participants until you win. But there's just one problem: cheaters. Naturally, some people are going to just suck at Tarabals, so they may be asking pro players to secretly play on their accounts in exchange for something like money. This way, they can earn Huntsman without doing any of the work. This form of cheating is known as alting. This is as pros are playing on alternate accounts that aren't theirs. This is unfair to other players who try to play legitimately. Enter one of these pro players, whose name is Whyuoj, an infamous user known for his competitive nature and getting banned from TBC and Tarabals itself. Any TBC member who resides in the community long enough is bound to hear of him. After being banned, his only vendetta is against TBC, and his goal is to cause as much chaos as possible by alting into Huntsman tournaments. His plan is to offer to play on any tournament participant's account to supposedly help them get Huntsman. Now, each tournament hosts 2 sessions. Session A, which takes place at 5 AM EST, and Session B, which takes place at 4 PM EST. Because of the time zones, they are separate brackets. But the point is, 2 total Huntsmans will be rewarded per tournament. The next Huntsman 1v1 tournament was scheduled for March 30th, 2024. And so Whyuoj knew he had to find players willing to give him their account information in desperation for Huntsman. Whyuoj recruited a player named Cernik to alt in Session A. Cernik already had Huntsman from a previous tournament, yet was hungry for more tournament wins by any means necessary. He recruits another player named Sia to alt in Session B. Sia doesn't have Huntsman, so it's clear what they were aiming for. With his plan set in motion, on the morning of March 30th, the day of the tournament at 5 AM, he logs into Cernik's account and live streams himself, eliminating player after player. This is a guy who does nothing but play Tarabals, and regular players stood no chance in his path of destruction. This seemingly unstoppable rampage was finally ended when he reached the semifinals. Phoenix, the community manager, was suspicious of Cernik's winning streak and asked Whyuoj to screen share in a VC, at which point Whyuoj misclicked and revealed his Windows account, which was logged into a username that read Whyuoj. Cernik was promptly disqualified and his account was slapped with the tournament blacklist. Feeling the pressure, Cernik decided to completely confess to everything in hopes he may receive a lesser punishment. Although Whyuoj had been stopped dead in his tracks before the finals, the damage had already been done. Innocent players that could have attained Huntsman were eliminated by Whyuoj in cold blood. But the threat was far from over. At 4 PM EST, Session B of the 1v1 tournament began, and Whyuoj logged into Sia's account, and once again live streamed himself eliminating innocent players. The moderators knew he would strike again, and had to figure out which player was Whyuoj. This time, he had taken more precautions to not get caught in the same way twice. And he continued sweeping unsuspecting players until he made it into the finals, with Huntsman in the grasp of Sia's hands. Phoenix made him screen share once again and asked him to reveal his Metal account, which showed it was logged into a username that read, you guessed it, Whyuoj. As it turns out, live streaming himself alting didn't help conceal his crimes either, as some of his viewers had notified the tournament hosts of what was going on. Yet again, he had been stopped dead in his tracks, but this time the damage was far more severe. In an unprecedented move, the tournament hosts announced that there would be 2 winners, despite it being a 1v1 tournament. The 2 winners had already won Huntsman from previous tournaments, so it wasn't much of a big deal. Whyuoj, in a complete troll fashion, uploads himself alting in the tournament on both Cernik's and Sia's accounts, as since they'd already been caught, there'd be no point hiding the evidence. Afterwards, both Cernic and Sia were banned from TBC, and both their Roblox accounts were banned from Tower Battles. With the chaos left behind Whyuoj's actions, everything in TBC would change forever. On the morning of April 1st, 2 days after the tournaments, players started waking up with tournament blacklists. As it turns out, anyone who was watching Whyuoj's stream had received the blacklist for not notifying the moderators of which account he was playing on. This may have been a record number of blacklists in a single day, but what happened next was truly unprecedented. Strangely, several players who hadn't watched Whyuoj's stream had received blacklists. Notably, all of these players were those who had won Huntsman from past tournaments. One of them, named Scoopin, logged into Tower Battles, and they would get the shock of their lives. Their Huntsman tower had been removed from their inventories by Phoenix herself. Another player, U62Q, also logged into Tower Battles and found that his Huntsman was removed as well. Panic erupted through TBC as those who lost their Huntsman began to ping other players who also owned Huntsman, trying to ascertain the scope of the damage. A total of 6 players had lost their Huntsman. As follows, they are Scoopin, U62, Eric Doggy, Rogan, and Pikey. And you can include Cernic too, as he technically lost his for being banned from Tower Battles. This was an unprecedented genocide of Huntsmen in less than 24 hours. You could say that this is the best April Fool's joke that TBC had seen yet. Immediately, almost all of them had open tickets, demanding to know why their Huntsman had been removed. It turns out everyone who had lost Huntsman did not lose it because of the recent tournament, except Cernic. Instead, they were revealed to be actually guilty of alting or being altered for in past tournaments. The recent events have finally led mods into deciding that they had to crack down on alters once and for all. And what happened to Whyuoj? Well, he received no punishment for his actions. Why? Because he was already banned from TBC and his Roblox account was already banned from Tower Battles. But I guess we can thank him, as what he did was give a spark that was needed for these alters to face justice. Perhaps you can use this as a cautionary tale to those who dare to cheat in tournaments. The moral of the story is, do not alt. If you want to obtain Huntsman, do it legitimately through practicing and gaining real skill in game, as the value of actually gaining it through experience is priceless.